Welcome, everyone. Dr. Thor here. Let's talk gnosis. Well, one of the real areas that tends to be overlooked of what is the next frontier, what is the next new uh, science. I don't know if you call it a new science, but certainly is something that has been overlooked or covered through very metaphysical areas and not given much credit. And that, of course, is the science of manifesting. Now, manifesting science, of course, I've been the leader in this field for many, many years. And, manifesting science incorporates all sorts of things because life isn't just one single area of empowerment. As a technological species, mankind, generally because of its physical structure, because we can stand up and grab things, because we have feet and hands, are able to create what? Well, with our physical abilities and our general mental capacities, there's no use having great mental capacities as an elephant if you can't really do anything because you don't have hands and feet that you can move around on. But many animals are very, very intelligent, and regardless of that fact, and in many ways, much more intelligent than mankind, who tends to get by on not his intelligence, but his destructive ability of dominating a situation because of his ability to do what? Well, the thinking process makes us, because of our inferiority, our lack of muscles in general, the fact that we have very poor skin and bones and other things, unlike animals who can survive much better and take a lot more abuse. Because of that, what do? Well, we build tools, shoes, clothing. These are all kinds of indirect tools. But then we also build tools themselves. So we, instead of using a rock to hammer something in, once we've made a nail, and that in itself is a creative, we build things that can work. We build from using a rock, we go to using a hammer, and we build basic tools, things to cut wood in half, things to saw metals in half, making metals, etc. These are all part of the tool making process. Doing these things in general does not create anything. You have to then use the tools. Tools are like instruments, like musical instruments. And we don't seem to understand that as a species either, but they are instruments. An instrument to work right, you have to learn how to use it. And of course, tools are the same way. If you don't know how to use a tool, you have a problem. I see this with people today often. Women are notorious at this because they are not interested in learning how to use electrical appliances or anything else. They let somebody else do that. I'm shocked of how ignorant people are with basic electronics as well. So this all comes to be something that is quite strange. So the whole idea is that they prefer not to get involved with that so they don't think past that. But there's also a lot of men as well that tend to not get involved in those areas because they're not, I don't work with my hands, I do other things. So this is all kind of silly, but in general, the bigger picture is that we make tools, and what do we do after that? We make machines with the tools that we have made. So that's how life goes. So, manifesting sciences have a lot to do with many different areas. And of course, your greatest tool is your mind in general. So, it is not about having machines do everything for you, which is what they try and tell you things are going to do with AI, etc. It's about machines assisting your much higher consciousness. And that's what manifesting science is all about. Now, manifesting science is the science. It's where everything will go in the future as we get past the very primitive level of machinery. We originally went through obviously the basic tools. We then made types of machines. Now we make computers that tend to control these machines. All of this is part of the process of getting to a high level of manifesting. But in the end, it's the fact that you have to empower all of these areas. You must empower the process of thinking, manufacturing, and selling to be successful in life. It's not about just having a good idea. I mean, almost everybody has many good ideas in their life. Um, it's applying the idea. I remember talking to someone who said, well, I had that idea. I'm pissed off. I had that. Yeah, but you didn't do anything about it. The person who got it to the market did. And that's the difficult area. So, and that's the manifesting area. How do you manifest? Now, there are lots of traditional ways of manifesting. And of course, these are ways of raising money, getting to the right people. And, it's a club. And that's why only a certain percentage of people are able to have their pretty primitive, crappy products put out there, which is pretty much what we could say about Apple products, Microsoft products. I mean, these certainly aren't genius produced products. And the people behind them are pretty low level people. And they're really not what you consider creative whatsoever. In a larger aspect, they are very lucky. And with luck comes a lot of money. And they basically hired people to do the real footwork, the real hands-on building. Certainly that was the case with Apple because Steve Jobs knew nothing. This was a guy who graduated high school and went to India and took mushrooms all the time. He knew nothing about anything, but he was able to hook up with kind of a nerd who did all the work. But what's interesting is this guy without an education, no background whatsoever, was hired by top tech companies for a period of time. So it's quite interesting of what happens and how the times change. If this was this day and age, Steve Jobs would have been nowhere and have nothing. He was lucky that he was in a particular place that he could do things. But none of the stuff that he is famous for did he create. It was all done by techs like Wozniak and other people who know how to actually take the nuts and bolts and put them together. Now, this is very critical, but every facet of life is critical. Now, as we get into the base areas of manifesting, which is the things that are connected by certain people with financiers, etc., go to certain colleges where they think people are geniuses and are able to then get the financing that way. And this is how these things work. In Stanford Business School, you're not expected to get a degree. You're expected within a year or two to go out and start a business, which I find interesting in its own reality. I'm not sure that's the best philosophy, but what are you going to learn in school about business? You have to get out there and do it. But I guess there are hard, cold facts of business as well. But you can hire those people if you want to figure out how to do numbers and build charts. Well, there are people out there that you can hire to do that. They're called accountants. But the new frontier is manifesting science. That is getting the energy that you're putting out there. And of course, you have to do everything else to actually draw to you what you need in life, whether that's greater inspiration, people, money, etc. Now, there's always the traditional ways, but even with people that are skilled and connected, a lot of times that doesn't work. What you need is to have that energy around you. Why is Steve Jobs, Bill Gates so lucky? Because they are nobodies. They have no background to go by. They had nothing to raise money or anything else. They just went into business and got the breaks. They had the luck. They attracted to them using their energetic energy fields of prosperity to draw the people and money in that they need. And that's what happened. So we got to remember, Steve Jobs was a nobody, had no education whatsoever, and didn't even go to schools or anything else. The bottom line is he went to India and they named him Little Turd. And this is what he came back with. So the point is that his verbose and really BS way of convincing people that he was such a genius. Yeah, we're gonna put songs on a chip, and you can play them. Ooh, that's a miracle. What's funny is I did that with my cassette tape yesterday. So the whole idea is that these are the kind of things that people get credit for. An electric car, what a bobe this guy is. Absolutely never had an original idea of done anything right, but he had the money to throw at it. And of course, these people have a certain amount of talent because they're able to BS their way and throw money at people that do the job for them. The whole idea is that Bill Gates, while a highly educated guy coming from a wealthy lawyer family, didn't have any business credit behind him. He didn't go and graduate from Harvard Business School. He went there for about a year and a half, I believe. He didn't come out of business school, didn't go work for a corporation, then start a business. You would think that that's how you would do things. You'd learn your craft. No, they all dropped out. They all went out on their own because they didn't want to bother going through that long procession of working for somebody else and then trying to start their own company. But generally, that's how it works. All of it works to the fact of this is the reality that is out there. So it had nothing to do with anything other than having a strong manifesting field around them. And a lot of people have this naturally. And of course, we don't know what some of the darker backgrounds of all these people are. Typical with Musk. Musk had a brother that was highly connected into all of the conspiracy type people out of Texas, and Musk, who basically is a semi-retard who never did anything. He has a degree in physics and a degree in economics. He is not an engineer, has no training in that whatsoever, nor does he have any training whatsoever in computer programming. He's not a computer science degree person. So whatever he learned there, whoever he got to write the code for him to do whatever he did is something that either taught himself or paid other people. I mean, that story is a complete fishy story, as well as most of these stories tend to have some huge fishy elements to them of how these people somehow became popular. But all of them were eventually taken over by more skilled people who ran the corporation. Musk took over corporations and slapped his name on it. Whether it was he merged with PayPal, knew nothing about finance. As a matter of fact, they threw him out of PayPal because he was a boob. And that's the reality of it. So we must understand that these people don't have any background. Steve Jobs knew absolutely nothing about anything. All he really did was make comments on aesthetics. Well, the case should be in a nice plum color. It'll match my walls in my bathroom. So these are the kind of things, and it's amazing how these incompetent boobs get as far as they do. But the company was taken over by professionals who was able to take Apple, the concept, with the boob ahead of it, and be able to do what it did with it today. Whether that's good or bad or not is up to the individual. And the fact is the same, and a lot of this had to do with luck. The bottom line is that things like the mouse were given to them by Intel. Intel gave that technology. I don't know if it was I think it was given to Microsoft, but I'm not sure. These are the kinds that happen. They went over and talked to them and said, we got this goofy little thing here, and if you can use it, go ahead. We've just been playing with it. So because, the new window type systems, if you don't have a mouse, are very difficult to use. The genius system that Bill Gates had was DOS, a type in command system, which is arduous and problematic to use, and nobody liked it. You have to know all these codes to do this, to do that, instead of just clicking on something, which is obviously revolutionary. I don't think the computer would have gotten too much further on the genius of DOS that Bill Gates owns, and I don't think he had anything to do with the invention of it. He bought it, like so many other things. But he had to have people approach him for that. They had to have the luck for Intel to give them this revolutionary tool to add into their computers. So these are all the things that happen. And what does this all boil down to? It all boils down to the fact of manifesting science. You need to create strong, what is considered for everybody's understanding purposes, magnetic energy fields around you to draw to you what you need. Whether that's inspiration, whether that's money, all of that is part of the process that you need to have in the newest of all sciences coming out there. This is the new everything. You got to remember that computers, AI, robots, these things go back 50, 60 years. They're based on physical advancement of technologies, meaning how much data can you process through your machines. And of course, we're finding out that a lot of older tech works. Things like vacuum tubes, as you see in front of you here. These things move data at a much higher rate than regular processors do. But the bottom line is that you have to create around yourself. What makes you successful is not your crummy ideas. DOS, I should say. DOS was a great idea. No, it was thrown in the trash as soon as a replacement was found for it. We can look at other successful people. Now, the computer in general was something that never was taken seriously until it had a good use for it. So, as soon as business found out how effective it was for doing business tasks and keeping records and inventory and word processing, it started to be something that was taken seriously. So, we have to understand that in the process of technology. So, there has to be a good use for it. But the bottom line is that you have to draw to you and maintain the energies around you that make you successful, that bring creativity to you, that bring you to higher states of consciousness, because manifesting technology is not limited to dollars and cents bottom line. It is not limited to anything. What you have, you want to play an instrument better? Well, you can draw those energies to you. You want to have higher processes of thinking? Well, you can do that. You want to connect high spiritual empowerments and get knowledge from them as well? Well, you can do that. Manifesting science and using the technology, particularly that I have pioneered in the last 10 to 15 years, and even before that, is the next level of science. Everything else is really a joke because everything else requires that manifesting science energy to make it work. And this is what people are missing. And a lot of people who are highly trained and got involved in all sorts of businesses fail because they don't have that energy around them. They become cons and cheaters because the only way they can really make money is to defraud people. So all of this is what you run into in these particular fields. And the problem with any type of area is that there are many, many people involved in it with many aspects. So manifesting science, if you want to go back to visualization, positive thinking, and so many other things out there that are involved in this. You know, the stuff you hear about from Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill. I guess we could add in NLP into that. But people have always been conditioning their mind to create these manifesting magnetic energies. And this has always been part of the science of the mind and been basically perpetrated in many, many different books talking about thinking positively, doing visualizations, etc. And what does this do? What does all that do? People think, well, that creates stuff in front of you. So if you visualize something, it starts to create in your reality. Well, it does, but what you're doing is it's creating the energy in your reality. That's what manifesting science is about. And we really have the same science and methodology that we've had for over 100 years now. Think and Grow Rich is a book that, didn't that come out in the 20s? So it may be close to 100 years old now. People have always said, think positive, etc. And all of this is part of it, but it's not enough. Unto itself, it works pretty poorly. If you're constantly positive, constantly expecting things to happen in your way without empowering them, you will sadly fail. And that's what happens with most people that go down the positive thinking track is that the fact is that it fails. It's as simple as that. Now, when you add in visualization, vision boards, all these things, well, you are helping. And of course, this is all part of the process that has been the only way of doing things until recent years and until I have actually brought to the market manifesting empowered electronics, machines. But these machines are not common machines. They're not something that is just what you see in front of you here, just the hardware. This is transmutated hardware. We have changed the flow of energy moving through these machines through a special process. This is done through optic input into machines, USBs, and through our special plates or discs that are placed on and under machines to transmute the energy as it's moving through. Now we're using a particular type of energy that can be manipulated and used through a special transmutated electronics. So we're using the base electronics, which are standardized in nature. But once the energy enters the machine, a whole new process comes on, and how the energy flows through the machine, particularly the scalar fields, the non-electromagnetic fields that flow through these machines that we put into them, using the electricity as a carrier wave. So we're using these components here, which have are used mostly as a carrier wave. We are not producing a frequency, an electromagnetic frequency that we're using here. Electromagnetism in itself is an inferior energy that is created through the scalar energy, which is what we create here. So you create scalar energies, non-electromagnetic energies that then start to, which are the foundations of all creativity. All creation in the universe starts out with scalar waves, otherwise known as occultons, which interact with psions, which are kind of intelligent energies that tell the occultons what to do, what to manifest, to put it in very simple terms. So that's how the world works. So we do need to quite understand that. So as you do that, then you start forming these fields around you. And for some bizarre and strange reason, you as a human entity in this reality are given the power to connect to and to build manifesting fields to create pretty much whatever you want in life. And this is kind of shocking. Why are we able to do this? And this is a bigger picture, but it's part of human life, and part of the fact of bringing human life up to a higher level is giving you what are fairly extreme empowerments, but a lot of other things come involved with that. But what you want to do is get a technology that'll run for you for many hours a day, every day, that'll help empower whatever you desire in life. So if you're trying to make that breakthrough in some concept, maybe you're studying some field that you want to make a breakthrough or understand things at a higher level, well, that's part of the manifesting sciences. Do you need to empower your business? You empower your job, find a job, meet the right people, find the right mate. All of that is part of these non-electromagnetic fields that are constantly around you doing the real work. Now, scalar energies actually manifest the electromagnetic, which is something we use all the time because it's kind of an idiot energy. It's kind of simple. Now, the ancients didn't do that. Pyramids don't work on electromagnetism. They work on scalar energy. And so do all the other great energies that we look in the way, way past from very advanced civilizations that didn't make electric generators and power them in very destructive ways by burning oil or burning anything else. So they figured out how to generate energies on a high consciousness level. And of course, that's what we're talking about here, which consciousness technologies. They are producing energies that are the essence of all creation to manifest in your life what you want. Now, manifesting is a multi-level reality, and the science of it is multi-leveled. Meaning the fact it's just not putting in nice thoughts through a machine and that will pop up like some sort of bogus Hollywood magic lamp, some Aladdin's lamp. And this is where people get confused. And really, if you think like that, I have to really wonder you haven't thought very well. But people fall into that because they want to have something that easy. They don't want to learn. They don't want to do anything. They want to rub the lamp and have it pop up in front of you. And of course, we all want that. And maybe someday something close to that will happen. But the bottom line, if that really did happen, it would make everything valueless, because everybody could just have it pop up in front of them. So there would be no lotteries. Gold would be meaningless. You would have 100,000 pounds in your cellar. It's just nonsense. You've got to remember that there is a bigger picture here, and there are the laws of manifesting. And you have to have things like channels. Well, how is something going to come to you? Sitting on your couch watching TV, thinking nice thoughts is not going to bring anything to you. So you have to be active in the process. But you can be as active as you want. And, major corporations to individuals have spent their lives struggling in a field and never necessarily get anywhere. It's very common for companies to spend tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars researching new products that fail, even though they did their research. So the whole idea is what they didn't do their research was empowering their idea and new product in the general energy of the world. So it failed. This is very common. So all of these things we have to fully understand what's going on and appreciate the bigger picture of the manifesting sciences. Now, everybody will have a manifesting machine in the future. Now, how soon this will be, I don't know. The manifesting machines and the handheld models, which we put out right now, the Psion generator, are available right now. And quite frankly, they're very reasonable. They're about the third of the price of an Apple phone. And these things do something while your phone is nothing more than a tool. It's really nothing more than a hammer. So these tools are available right now, and they all are pretty effective as long as you understand how they work and do the other necessary items. Again, if you think there's magic lamps out there, well, who would actually sell that? That's just stupid. So the whole idea is that things will not pop up in front of you. This would make the world a chaotic mess. So it can't happen. But it can create the pre-energetic fields required for manifestation in that area. You don't need to manifest a bar of gold. You need to manifest the energy or the knowledge of how to make money to buy that gold or make the right investment. That's how manifesting technology works at this time. The physical manifestation of something may happen in some way in the future. And these will be limited towards very practical things like, manifesting a cup of coffee or out of the thin air or whatever. These would not upset society per se. But that's not how things work. And that is really a comic book reality to it. But it is the energy fields that ultimate. Everything starts out with the energetic field to create something. You have to have the idea before that actually manifests. Then the idea is not enough. You have to keep empowering that idea with energy so that it manifests physically down the line. Now, to do this, you require something more than sitting and meditating, making a vision board, etc. All those things are pretty much kindergarten ways of manifesting. What you actually need is to get yourself a manifesting machine, and there are ones of different prices and different levels. You're looking at right here, this tube amplifier is our Dragon Force unit, our top of the line unit. And of course, this unit is not inexpensive, but the point is that compared to a lot of other things out there, it is not that expensive. So there are units that we sell for much less as well. So there's something for everybody that you can afford. But remember, if you expect to win the Indianapolis 500 race in a Ford Fiesta, you're kidding yourself. But does it drive around the track? Yes. Does it get you there? Yes. Does it make you a winner? No. So you've got to understand that. So you have to invest in your life and invest in some technologies that will last you a lifetime. You'll be using manifesting technology for anything. So it doesn't matter what problem you have in life, whether it's a physical harmony problem where you need to balance your body energies, or whether you want to have a baby, or whether you want to make your investments rise, or whatever it may be, meet that right person, reach a higher level of spiritual understanding. All of that comes through manifesting fields. So it's not limited, as a lot of people want to think of, as one particular area. And you have to use it on other areas that conflict with you. You have many blockages in your life that stop you from going ahead. Well, this kind of technology takes those energetic blockages and removes them so the good energy can come in. So basically, this is the next step that has for years been talked about in books like Think and Grow Rich and so many other ones out, all the self-help books that started out in the 70s. And all those concepts. This is now a way to add enormous amounts of empowerment to basically old methods. The old methods in the new, very, very blocked life, the life that is very rigged against you, do not work well anymore. So you need, regardless of what system you're using, you need to get some sort of scalar energy manifesting machine to help this energy build in your life. It's going to save you a lot of time. It's going to break through blockages, and it's going to create much, much higher levels of manifesting than you would ever reach in any other method. It's just another tool. You want to go and hammer a nail in your house by using your fist? You want to use a rock? No, you want to use a nail gun. You want to jump ahead and do something that's automatic, that works in seconds, that gives you perfect results time after time. That's what you want. And that's what manifesting technology is all about. But remember, it's not going to make you win the lottery. It's not going to make you do anything. This works within your life. And if you're a highly successful person with lots of opportunities that maybe you just have not connected with, or you want more opportunities, well, then this will expand it. So your life and how the technology manifests in your life work together. And as you grow and you become more empowered, you can reach higher and higher goals. But don't think that somebody's gonna put a pot of money in front of your door tomorrow morning. You have to have capacities to do things that this machine, which are called channels, you have to have channels for ways of things to coming to you. This is not a comic book, and the people that want to make things into Hollywood comic books are in for a horrible letdown. On the other hand, if you think you're ever going to achieve anything without having an empowered system assisting you in life, well, you're living in a dream world. There are richer, smarter, better people than you on every street corner, and there are billions of them. How do you get the edge? How are you able to compete? How do you survive and prosper against these odds? You use manifesting science and use manifesting machines, and Off-World Tech has them all. Until next time.